Hey everyone, welcome to the Slice of Healthcare podcast. I'm your host, Jared Taylor. Joining me is the co-founder and CEO at Medcase, Kyle Giddens. Kyle, how are you today?
Oh, I'm excellent, Jared. Thanks for having me on Slice of Healthcare.
Really excited to have you on the podcast today. Why don't we dive right into it, Kyle? Would love to hear about your background, and then we'll go into Medcase.
Sure. So I'm originally actually from Canada and moved out to Israel about a decade ago in order to see the wonderful beaches and meet the great folks over here. Professionally, my background's more on the business side of things, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. So I've always liked to look at large problems and see how to solve them differently. And so I come from the AI space and utilizing large groups of really intelligent people on small or large tasks to solve real problems.
And what I like to say about you, Kyle, is you were involved with AI before it was let's call it before it was cool, because now with ChatGPT and Bar, like it seems like it's all that anyone talks about. If you run into some kid on the street, they're going to talk about ChatGPT, or it's like all the rage right now, right? Even though you've been in this space for quite some time, um, would
Yeah,
love to hear your thoughts too quickly on all this that's happening. Since we do have you here.
yeah. So like my previous company was in the image recognition space, and so we were super early adopters of the first neural network. So we went from like classic AI, like random forest and all this random stuff. For those who know what that is, but on a very practical sense, like in 2013, 2014, that was the early days, the pioneering days, where if you bought Nvidia stock, you would still be very, very happy today because it was there at the cheap. But really what you've seen since then is almost like a Moore's law of compounding development, both on the actual GPUs themselves, but more importantly on the abilities of the AI, which is roughly like neural networks, to parse information and really seek patterns out. And the latest thing with ChatGPT is we've now created huge, giant networks that are trained on the internet, or a large subsection of the entire internet, which is basically a microcosm of all of yours and my knowledge, and saying like, let's find patterns. And so they're really good at predicting what the next item or pattern is, and then we as humans like anthropomorphize that and say like, oh, that's alive or that's real, when really it's like the noise in the machine coming to life and giving us real perspectives. But I think ChatGPT, what I love is, I think it's actual watershed moment for humanity, which you may or may not have heard yet. But I think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, because it's the first useful application for you and me as laymen to really interact with AI that betters our life, our company's life, random tedious tasks, and all sorts of different automations that if we could have a buddy or a helper at our fingertips at any time, that would be it. And I think this is the first time in a real practical sense that we've crossed that chasm. So everybody should talk about ChatGPT. They should use it. And when Google and now Facebook just released an open source one, you should adopt it and see how you can make your business or life better by using it.
I like to find someone, Kyle, in their 80s and show them it just to absolutely blow their mind. I've been having so much fun with that lately. If I'm at a coffee shop or something, I'm like, "Hey, have you seen this? Ask me a question." And then they see how fast it types, and it is fun to just to do that to people in a positive way, right? And I've done that way too many times than I want to state here.
Yeah, and it's capturing the wonder. Like everybody's like afraid for the future, but really you're capturing the wonder that it is of discovery. And when was the last time you did that for anything? Like honestly, like it's really it's an incredible thing to be able to show something so cool and novel, but that is so practical. Like it's not a toy. It is useful today, and it's only going to get better exponentially, and that's the coolest thing because it if this is version 3.5, then what does 4 look like, or even 5 or 6 or 7? There's really limited diminishing returns, as we've seen in the AI community, for each year of development. It's up and to the right. So if you're a VC or invest in any market, if some trend is going up and to the right, you're pretty excited on what that looks like.
Um, so Kyle, you were when you were telling us about your background and being in the focusing on AI, you have a company called EdgeCase.ai, and that's you mentioned it earlier when you and I were just chatting, right? You kind of you moved into healthcare as a result of some of the things you were doing there, right? Talk us through about how what Medcase is focusing in on today. What's the connection with EdgeCase.ai, and just get us excited, which I
Sure.
am. That's why I'm pumped to have you here.
Yeah. So to train these large models, whether it's ChatGPT or the AI that allows you to recognize like where our glasses are or filter out background noise, you need human input still today in order to create golden data sets or data that has been approved and validated in order to say that this is what's 100% true and this is something that is an unknown, and you sort of test against that. As Silicon Valley really did a great job explaining this, you need people to say something is a hot dog or not a hot dog at its base to train a classifier or AI to recognize what a hot dog really is. Now, uh, because in my previous company, Trendy Guru, we were such early adopters in image recognition. We needed lots of people to say, instead of hot dog or not hot dog, what are people wearing? And is that short sleeve or long sleeve T-shirt or something else? And when I shut down that company and was looking for my next adventure, the AI community, which is in 2017, 2018, which was still very small, reached out and said, "Hey, can you help us out with solving this problem of how to label and identify what's in this image or what's in this text?" And so, uh, being an entrepreneur who says, part of life is saying yes. I When they asked if I could help, I said yes, and I got together with another great entrepreneur, and we started EdgeCase AI to label data en masse for companies, and we saw quite quickly that there was a need in other sectors rather than just simple stuff to say shirt or long sleeve or short sleeve or hot dog or not hot dog, but more complex judgments. And that really required experts. And so we started offering this services of healthcare professionals, instead of saying hot dog, not hot dog, to say cancer, not cancer, or, this is part of the lung or not part of the lung, and so on and so forth. And we were quite lucky again to be early adopters. And when other companies started looking for healthcare professionals and to label their data, they turned to us. And I'm proud to say that out of the top 15 companies globally that are producing AI algorithms today, roughly 10 or so are our customers in order to help create the golden data sets for their FDA submissions and beyond. And so, really, the progress from EdgeCase to Medcase was to allow a global population of healthcare professionals to provide their judgments in real time or non-real time on data. And eventually, which is where we are today, we packaged all that together to offer that for both AI companies and enterprise and Fortune 100s, as well as to provide the same type of compliant and validated platform for uh, specialty care and telehealth all across the US and in the other 20 different countries that we're active in.
And talk us through, in relation to obviously what Medcase has built and is continuing to build. Um, as a result of what you've built, I wanted to ask you your thoughts on what the future of work looks like, right? Specialties care, telehealth, kind of bundle them together, I guess. But really wanted your future outlook on those areas.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is people want more autonomy in how they structure their day to day, especially if they're knowledge workers and their opinions really do matter. And they're looking for solutions for them to say yes to some things and no to others and have that flexibility. And especially in healthcare, which is in such high demand, and there's zero, not zero, but there's a lack of supply. This is really readily apparent where market forces really dictate that healthcare professionals are able to say no and find the best solution for them in order to structure their day. And so, in terms of like the future of work, specifically in healthcare and everything else, is it should be AI assisted as much as possible. Like they're using ChatGPT, for example, or other great tools. Like an AI doc for radiologists to help provide input on reads or anything else in between, and then providing the human inputs when it's really necessary, because your time is valuable. The listener's time listening to this is valuable. And so you want to try and fill your day with as high value interactions as possible. So we really believe in autonomy and flexibility is really going to be the future of work, uh, as well as doing so as much as possible virtually rather than physically when you can, and really being able to do so at scale with real data. And when we built Medcase, we started from taking unstructured data and making it structured in providing that real-time judgments, and we brought that same gravitas to clinical care and enabling clinical care for as a white label solution for startups and enterprises and others, in order for them to achieve what they want to achieve when working with healthcare professionals whose opinion is so needed and uh, is often not listened to or not really structured in the right way to get the highest impact for the end patient or end user or anything else in between. So my belief is double down on smart people being able to give their opinion and allow them to work where they need to work, how they want to work, but just give them the right tools for the job.
My last question for you, Kyle, is what's next for you in Medcase?
So what's next for Medcase is to continue to double down on helping enable others to access both a platform and healthcare professionals at scale. And similar to what you saw with the GPU revolution in AWS, where rather than having your own clinical practice or your own gaggle of servers and clinicians, you can then just rent that from us in a HIPAA compliant way and be able to scale en masse, not only across the United States, but around the globe. And really, our vision is really to be that infrastructure and healthcare partner for really enabling better access to healthcare at the click of a button.
Well, Kyle, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast here today, sharing your story, uh, talking Chat GPT, the hot trending topic, but then also giving us your future outlook on work, specialty care, telehealth. Hopefully, we can have you come on again soon to come on a panel. Or just put together another episode. Would love to dive more to what you're building and the space in general.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on the pod, Jared. It's actually a real pleasure, and happy to come back anytime and do this again. Throw anything at me. I'm here to have fun and do good things and do it with great people.